What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bleav Me. I'm Joe Ceraulo, and I'm the luckiest bettor in America. Why? Because I've got 6 games in front of me right now and 2 gentlemen beside me who are going to help me decide where to throw my money. Who are those 2 gentlemen? Well, one of them's been one of the best handicappers in the industry for decades now. That's Brandon Lang. The other one is a former Pro Bowl quarterback in the NFL, a former All-American quarterback in the college ranks. That's Kordell Stewart. Brandon, it's a pleasure to be on here with you guys. Let's dive in to the 6 games in front of me. Thursday Night Football's in the books. We've got 15 games to go. We're going to start with a game across the pond. My New York Giants headed over to London, taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Giants bring in the number 1 rushing offense in the National Football League, gentlemen, and they're getting 8 points. They are 8-point dogs to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Brandon, should my Giants have my money this week? What do you think about this game?
2 things about this game. One, the ankle injury to Mac Jones, to
Daniel Jones. Yep.
Literally, you don't know what you're going to get. So is he going to play? Okay. Plays banged up. Kordell can add to it what it's like to play on a bum ankle and what that does to your mechanics. Second, every time Green Bay comes off a sluggish effort, they show up. It's a weird dynamic. At home, struggle against New England, almost lose the game outright. Bailey Zappi from Western Kentucky comes in, almost leads to the outright win. Do I want to take the Giants in this game? Absolutely. But do I think Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay can take away the run game of the Giants and force them to have to throw to beat them? Pretty good defensive coordinator the Packers have for them. I just feel like the whole world's going to bet the Giants here. And my gut says you go against Aaron Rodgers in a situation like this after an average performance. I just believe Green Bay's the right side of the game. You lose with Green Bay before you take a shot with the New York Giants.
Kordell, how do you feel about that, man? Do you agree with Brandon? Do you think Green Bay's going to win this one by more than 8 points?
I think they will. It's not just Daniel Jones that you have the issue with. The backup and Tyrod Taylor, he's under concussion protocol. I mean, think about that. That's an issue across the board when it comes to not knowing for sure how it's going to look on offense with the passing game or even play action pass. Everything is about Saquon Barkley. Don't you think this defense of Green Bay is going to lick their chops and understand that Saquon Barkley is probably going to get at least 70% of their plays when it comes to running the football because they've been doing so well. I think this team in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers and the receiving core, they've gotten better, had a great win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers not so long ago. Just remember, that still is lingering in their heads as far as having some success because they've been inept when it comes to being successful on the outside, especially on the offensive side of football. I like Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers and having an opportunity to catch this team off guard because all they have is a running game.
Wow, we agree out of the box, Joey.
That scares me. I almost want to fade both of you when you guys are on the same side. But you know what? How do I argue that? The Giants have 2 injured quarterbacks. To your guys' point, it's going to be all focus on Saquon for the Green Bay defense. Gentlemen, you swayed me. I was leaning with my Giants. First pick, going with you guys, going with the Packers. Let's see if we can get you guys to disagree here. The LA Chargers headed to Cleveland where they are 2.5-point favorites at the Browns. Chargers have won 3 straight in this series. Kordell, we're going to start with you here. I know you've been a little higher on Cleveland than Brandon and myself. You trust Brissett. Who you going with in this game?
Well, I'll tell you what, coming into Cleveland, because they're going on the road to play in Cleveland, off the lake, right around the corner from the stadium, it's pretty cold. All right, that's a part of it that I think can play into this top offense when it comes down to the passing game. I like the balance of the Cleveland Browns, even though it may not be the most prettiest style of football. I think this team having to travel on the road, the weather's going to be supposed to be nice, supposed to be low 50 degrees, high 65 degrees. I've checked the weather, guys. I mean, this is what we have to do here to try to figure this thing out. I think they mix it up with the running game, play action pass. I think the defense kind of stubs them when it comes down to passing the ball or even trying to rush it. I like the Cleveland Browns in this one.
Brandon, the last 2 years, Cleveland is 4-7 against the spread at home. Chargers are 6-4 against the spread on the road. Are you going to side with the meteorologist Kordell Stewart on this one, or are you going to go against him here?
You know, Kordell, I'm so disappointed in you on
it can't be.
Let's first start with how disappointed I am in you that when you know you go into an NFL game and you have such a huge advantage at the quarterback position, Herbert leads the NFL with the number one passing offense in the entire NFL. Brissett, Cleveland, you watch them offensively. It's like watching 8 midgets in the mud. It's just their offense does not look like it's an offense. Yeah, we run it and set up the play action, but you saw last week the Texans had played everybody tough, and for the most part, the Chargers ran them out the gym. Now here they are back to back on the road against a team that I'm gonna tell you something. I've gone against the Chargers in this spot multiple times. How soon we forget that this team should have went into Kansas City and won the game outright, if not for the pick 6 by Herbert late, and they still got the backdoor cover, converting 2 4th downs, which made me a lot of money. All things considered, with this big a discrepancy and advantage at the quarterback spot, I'm all in on the Chargers, Joey. I think, again, you have to lose with the Chargers before you take a shot with Brissett and the boys from Cleveland.
Kordell, you want another shot at this? What's up, man?
One thing we know that does travel, and it's been going on since the beginning of time with the game of football, it's running the football. This team is ranked 2nd in the National Football League in the Cleveland Browns with running the football. And you're asking this offense to throw the football in that stadium where it can be cold or even the wind can shift. They haven't been in this situation yet to have to be able to challenge against that. I like this rushing offense. I think that style of football travels anywhere in the world. I'm going with the run.
Real quick, what's Cleveland's record?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You said the same thing about the Raiders. It doesn't matter.
Raiders made me money last week. Raiders made me money last week. I'm just saying, you can have a great running game, but if it doesn't transfer equals into wins, let's just go run it and get the mail out. When we were kids, we ran out the driveway and got mail out the mailbox.
We got the mail out the mail out the mailbox though. We got the mail out the mailbox when we ran to it. That's the key. Running the football is the key in this game.
Kordell, to your point, man, the Browns have the 2nd best running offense. Chargers rank dead last, shockingly, in that department. 32nd, only about 64 rushing yards per game. But Brandon, to your point, when you're telling me to pick what's a damn near pick 'em between Justin Herbert and Jacoby Brissett, I'm going to go with Brandon and Justin Herbert in this one. I got to. Kordell, let's see if I'll go with you on the next one. The Detroit Lions headed up to Foxborough, taking on the Patriots. The Pats are 3-point favorites. Who the hell's the quarterback for New England? Brian Hoyer? Bailey Zapp? I mean, come on. The Lions lead the league in scoring. 35 points per game for the Detroit Lions. Brandon, is the Lions +3 the easiest money of the week?
Let me tell you something. Yeah, the Lions can score. They sure can. But they got the worst defense in the NFL. They can't cover 3 grandmothers in wheelchairs, one in the slot and one put out right, and they got a wheelchair grandma coming out of the backfield. This team can't play dead in the Western defensively, Joe. And so now they're rolling in to face Bill Belichick, and it's very easy to get behind New England at a value pick at home. Belichick, basically the team that wins this game, is going to cover the number. Detroit, I love their enthusiasm. I love Dan Campbell, but it's not equating into wins. And their offense is flashy, but when you can't get critical stops at critical times in the game, listen, Hard Knocks was great. Aaron Glenn was great. His defense was great. They just can't stop anybody. You watched New England go to Green Bay last week. They were so competitive. And I think back home, Bill Belichick versus Dan Campbell in a near pick 'em game, -2.5, 3. I'm gonna lose with the man in the hoodie. I think it's the right side of the game.
Kordell, what about you, man? Detroit's covered 14 of their last 21 in the regular season. Only Dallas has been better against the spread than Detroit going back to week 1 of last year. Kordell, are you with Brandon and the Patriots, or are you going with Dan Campbell? Are we biting kneecaps in Foxborough? What's going on, baby?
I'm going on what take place in Foxborough, man. The Patriots. I mean, you look at what Bill Belichick has been able to do. He's been able to he's like the kryptonite of every team in the National Football League when it comes to taking certain things away. I think Jared Goff becomes a shell of himself there in New England. I think Bill Belichick goes out and he puts pressure on him, not allowing that offense to be as dynamic as they can be, but yet cause him to play the dink and dunk game, play too high, make him have to earn it the entire football field. I think Bill Belichick and his Patriots team actually survived this.
He saw the light when Moses parted the Red Sea. He saw the light, and he led his people to the promised land. Well done, Kordell.
Well, now that I got Brandon getting biblical on me, I guess I can't go against the two of you. I guess if you guys are in the same side, what is this, the book of Brandon and I guess I got to go with you guys. One correction, Kordell. Bill Belichick.
What's that?
Maybe the kryptonite for 30 other teams in the National Football League, but not my Giants. I just want to make that very, very clear. On to game 4.
Forget about it.
You know how we roll in New York, baby. The Dallas Cowboys coming out to LA, taking on the Rams. The Rams are 5.5-point favorites in this one, gentlemen, but just got embarrassed for what seems like the upteenth time by Shanahan and the 49ers on Monday Night Football. Short week for the Rams. Kordell, let's start with you here. Rams minus 5.5 or Cowboys getting the points?
I'm going with the Rams. They're 16-10 after a loss versus this team with Sean McVay actually being a coach. They're 2-1 versus the Cowboys. Both games they won. They were by three and also by 6. I like this Rams team. They know this is a big game. It may not be a divisional game, but this is a conference game where they have to get this dub. I know Cooper Rush is rushing it when it comes down to not running, but actually showing that he's worthy of being a quarterback in the National Football League. He's undefeated when playing with the Cowboys, but I still like this team with all that they have on that defense side of football, especially on the line. Pressure on Cooper Rush will slow them down immensely.
Brandon, 30 seconds ago, he saw the light. Now you're shaking your head more than my 8th grade teachers did at me when I showed up to class 10 minutes late. What's going on here, Brandon?
He was holding the staff up. His people were halfway through. The staff broke in the wind. The water collapsed and his people drowned. And there's nothing you can do about it. First and foremost, let's start about this. Who leads the NFL in sacks?
Got to be Micah Parsons led Dallas defense.
The Dallas Cowboys. So now we just saw an offensive line in the Rams. My take, sir. We just saw the offensive line of the Rams. It absolutely dominated. And at the end of the day, they were playing with a practice squad center. Their right tackle had moved to right guard. Their left guard went to left tackle. They got a guy from the stands who was eating popcorn, who was 6'4", 325, put him in uniform, and he played the fourth quarter. So now you're taking an offensive line that can't protect Matthew Stafford. So now what happens? Well, he's got 4 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. Why? Pressure equals problems. So now you embarrass yourself with no offensive line. You can't run the football. Here comes the Dallas Cowboys. And you know what? Winners go with streaks. Losers go against them. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Cooper Rush has gone 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread. He goes into Minnesota and wins, beats Cincinnati. He won last week, beat the Giants. You cannot go against this guy right now because all he does is win. Dallas plus the 4.5. And don't be surprised, my friends, if the Dallas Cowboys win this game outright. I'm sorry, Kordell. You didn't see
Isn't the guy say don't go against the home team? Then he's the one that said don't go against the home team.
I didn't say lay 5.5.
And he's
lay 5.5, Kordell.
And he's over here preaching with no Bible. I'm trying to figure this one out. How do we do this? I got you. We'll see, as we always do. Go ahead, Joe. Let us know where you are.
Kordell, I know Brandon always says go with the home dog, but when the home team is 2-2 on the season, just got embarrassed, is on a short week. I get what Brandon's saying here. Neither of Sean McVay's wins against Dallas, I know he's got 2 of them, neither of them have come by more than 5.5 points. Brandon, to your point, the Los Angeles offensive line, we saw it as early as week 1 against the Buffalo Bills. They're in absolute shambles. Matthew Stafford's elbow looks like he's been watching too many Alexis Texas movies. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on with that noodle arm. It's the Dallas Cowboys, Brandon. To your point, I think you're 1,000% right. I got to go with you on this one, Kordell. I want to go with you.
Good job.
It's okay.
I want to go with you, Kordell, but you got to give me a reason to believe you.
Drink the water. Drink the holy water.
We got 2 games
today.
left.
Drink the holy water, Joey. Come on, man.
We got 2 games left, gentlemen. One more game on the normal slate, and then our game of the week. So let's head over to Monday Night Football. Maybe I can finally go with Kordell. I'm dying to, Kordell. I'm dying to,
man.
baby. Chiefs.
Here we go.
7-point favorites at home in Arrowhead against the Raiders. Kordell, I know you love giving Brandon and me a hard time about the Raiders. Chiefs are 7-point favorites. Patrick Mahomes is 7-1 against the Raiders in his career. What do you think, Kordell?
And he's won by 4 and 7 points against this football team. Right now, the Raiders are about as, I want to say, as good looking as Brandon is. That's how they're playing right now, to be honest with you. It's not good right now. It is a compliment because I like the uniform, but they're not playing good. This is his favorite football team, but I'll be honest with you here. I don't think that this Raiders team can stand up to what Patrick Mahomes has been doing in the past. I mean, have you watched him over the past couple of weeks? He's truly been putting up some great numbers. They figured out how to run the football. Defensively, they're making some good stops. They made the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look like they were average at best when it comes down to how they played at all.
Yeah.
I think right now, Patrick Mahomes, he's figured it out. He's getting the ball down the field. He's throwing it around. He's playing with confidence. He's got swag better than what Brandon has on the other side. I know he's ready to rock and roll right now. He's going to ride with me on this because he has drinking no holy water. But go ahead, Brandon. I'm listening.
Oh, Kordell, you remember the movie Jerry Maguire? Help me to help you. Help me to help you. See, Jerry, you think we're fighting. I think we're communicating. And on this game right here, Kordell, we communicating under the Monday Night Lights, Mr. Patrick, or as you, Kordell, call him, Mahomes, your Patrick Mahomes, under the Monday Night Lights has played 7 Monday night games in his young career. He is 6-1 straight up, 6-1 against the spread. So I tell you this, on Monday night, you want to sit back and watch the Raiders and root for the Raiders and watch Mahomes go up and down the field? Or do you want to root for Mahomes? My friend, this line is 7. Buy it down to 6.5. Again, my favorite saying, you lose with the Chiefs before you try to win with the Raiders. Kordell, you're on the right side of the game, my man. You know, you're seeing the light, Kordell. Hallelujah.
Man, oh man, how the tables have turned in this one.
So, my man.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish, baby. That's all I can tell you. Let's keep it going.
Brandon jumping off that Raiders pirate ship. Gentlemen,
of course he is.
Mahomes 7-1 against the Raiders. Brandon, to your point, 6-1 on Monday Night Football. He's covered 6 out of those 7 Monday Night Football games. How about 5 of his 7 wins against the Raiders coming by 18 or more? He's 3-1 against them at Arrowhead. All 3 of those wins have come by 31 or more. It sounds like a made-up number. Gentlemen, after hearing both of you guys out and knowing the little that I do coming into this game, this is the bet to put the mortgage on, to put your rent on. This is the bet.
Wait. Let's make sure our viewers and listeners know money management plus discipline equals success. Only bet what you can afford to lose. Let's not tell people start betting the mortgage, because this is the internet and people will go out and bet their mortgage. And then there's a knock at your door and it's Louis Knuckles and Joey Bag of Donuts. So let's just make sure before we start throwing out mortgages.
That sounds like a disclaimer that came from BrandonLang.com, by the way. I'm pretty sure I've seen those exact words before. I'm putting the rent on this one because of you guys. Going with the Chiefs, -7. Game of the week time, gentlemen. Sunday Night Football. Ravens, Bengals. Ravens -3. By the way, the Baltimore Ravens, 0-2 at home. Brandon, does that mean that I have to go with Joe Cool and the Bengals +3 on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, as I always say, whatever sports book you're with, spend that extra 20 cents, buy it up to 3.5, get that dog +3.5. The Bengals, when facing a team playing with double revenge, are you ready? Drum roll, please. 12-1 against the spread. Now, I know Kordell's in love with his man, Lamar Jackson, and I can almost assure you that he is going to go with Lamar, and he is going to go against that 12-1 stat. Bengals have the better defense, top 5 in the league. I'm going to go with Joe Cool, 12-1 against the number, facing a team in double revenge. And as we see, John Harbaugh last week, 4th and goal at the 3, should kick the field goal, 320. He goes for it. He can't be trusted. Give me Joe Cool and the Bengals plus the 3.5.
Cordell, Brandon's going with the road dog Sunday Night Football. You think Lamar's going to go 0-3 at home to start the year? What do you think, Kordell?
I think this is when he gets off the snide, baby.
I told you.
Against this team, he's 5-1. The first 2 wins he got, he won by 3 and 6 points. Both these teams have covered 2 of the last 4 times, however. But I'll say this. I think this dude's playing for a contract right now. I don't think it's going to come down to 3 points. I think he's playing for a contract. This dude want to let it be known. They didn't even pick him as a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. He has something to prove to the point. He's going to get the win, and he's going to cover probably about 5. Probably give him 5 or more points that he's going to win against this Bengals team. Even though this Bengals team does have found a way to get it done. Played against a Miami team not so long ago, knocked 2 out of the game. They look like themselves from the last season. I get that part. But they still have to travel on the road against this Baltimore Ravens team. They need this dub in Baltimore. I think this guy named Lamar Jackson, my man, smooth grooves, with the bush and everything else. He gets
Action
it done,
Jackson.
baby.
Who
There
played
you- that
Action
part-
Jackson? Who
that
played
part
Action
too,
Jackson?
baby.
What's the name of the actor?
You tell me. I want to
Carl
hear this.
Withers, man, from
There
Rocky.
you go.
There it
There
is,
you go.
baby.
You doing? he's-
You
But
guys are
I'm
really
going with
making me feel
Action
like the
Jackson.
young out of place guy with that reference.
Yes,
Kordell,
Yes.
I'm leaning with you on this one. I'm leaning with you. Lamar 5-1 against the Bengals, to your point. Brandon, 3 of those wins by 24 plus. Why wouldn't I take him here?
Well, I'm just going to say 12-1 against the spread, seeking double revenge. Go against that, go at your own risk.
I'm going to go with my own risk. I'm going to go with Kordell on this one, baby. Ravens at home, Sunday Night Football. Kordell, love your argument. Love the spot. Gentlemen, before we wrap it up, I've got room left in this schedule for each of you to give me one more game that wasn't on the main slate that you love. Brandon, let's start it with you. Give me a bonus surprise game of the week.
I know people are tuning in for the NFL, but every once in a while you come across a stat where you got to give it to the people. You got to feed them the bread and water. At the I forget what lake it was in the New Testament. We're going holy. It's Yom Kippur today.
How many biblical references?
Lots of biblical references. The Tennessee Volunteers are rolling into LSU to take on the LSU Tigers. They're 3-11 straight up, 1-13 against the spread when both teams were favorites in their previous game, which both were last week. Both were favored. Tennessee 3-11 straight up, 1-13 against the spread. If that next game is against an SEC opponent, Tennessee 1-9 straight up, 0-10 against the spread. LSU Tigers roll over the Volunteers.
Go Tigers, baby. Call them Baton Rouge to make some money. Kordell, bonus game of the week. What do you got?
What game you think I'm going with, guys?
Oh,
There was a-
geez,
there
let's
was
see.
a-
The former Pro Bowl Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. Go
Hey,
figure.
there was an epic move that was made at the quarterback position in Pittsburgh. They went from Mitch Trubisky over to my guy Kenny Pickett. He comes in the game, he ignites the stadium, he ignites the team, he gets them up 20-10. They end up throwing an interception. All of a sudden, the momentum goes to the Jets. They end up losing that game 23-20. What am I saying? They don't have enough to be able to beat this Buffalo team. I think Buffalo actually come after getting a great win against this Ravens team this past weekend. I think they come in and they might win, and I might get beat up for this one, but it may be 3 touchdowns that they lose by against this Buffalo Bills team. I just think right now the way the Buffalo Bills are playing defensively, even though they're trying to figure out their issues when it comes to injuries in the secondary, I just think offensively they don't have T.J. Watt on the defensive side of the football to help him. I know he's coming back soon.
Yeah, that's
but
the biggest.
That's the biggest problem right now. That game right there, Buffalo Bills. I'm anxious to see what the Steelers do. But Buffalo, I think, is going to be they're going to cover by how much are they covering by? What is it? A 14?
14-point favorites in this one, man.
Let's go up a little higher. It might be about minus 21.
Let's make sure we tell our viewers that for Kordell to pick against his Pittsburgh Steelers,
Hell just
that's
froze
the
over.
one you bet the mortgage on. Going.
I love it. I love it. That's Brandon Lang. That's Kordell Stewart. I'm Joe Ceraulo. And believe me, this is the best damn betting show out there.